Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Ryan are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 31, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Brian Hall.
Hey, Zaki. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. We're recording in the early morning today.
Yes. So, usually I have something to drink while I'm doing this.
Vodka.
Coke, water, gin. But, this morning it's coffee.
Wow. This is honestly, I'm not used to this. I'm getting a different aesthetic, so let's see if that manifests.
Yeah, like everybody who's listening, go ahead, light a couple candles, dim the lights, sit back. I think it's going to be kind of a chill.
A chill episode.
Feel-good
episode.
Right.
A feel-good episode. Sean Coyle is not with us again, and I want to make sure I clarify here, because Sean clarified this to me. He said, listen, I made myself available as much as possible, and that's very true. We just had a convergence of bad scheduling this week, and unfortunately we were not able to make it work. But I want to go on record that Sean is trying very hard, and he misses you, all of you. All of you listeners.
It's true.
He does miss you.
It's true. I've read his diary.
So this episode is in memory of Sean. So, Brian, what else is happening with you? What's been new and exciting in your world?
Well, I started a new job this week.
Oh, nice.
So,
McDonald's.
Yeah, I am now. Well, I am post coordinator over at Bob's Burgers.
Oh, so kind of McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and it's pretty exciting for me because I was a fan of the show to begin with. So it's kind of cool to go over there and see the inner workings of a show that you're interested in. So, it's been pretty fun so far.
I've actually never seen the show. So,
and it's funny because if you had asked me a week ago before I was even tied to it, I would tell you to check it out. They're all on Netflix. Mm-hmm. And it really does remind me of sort of the older Simpsons sort of aesthetic where there's like a sweetness, a sweet undercurrent through the whole thing, and it's a little left to center kind of oddball humor, but it's all rooted in this family that actually cares about each other. So it's really funny.
I have to admit, I found the character designs a little off-putting.
Yeah, and that's I could see that. I mean, I remember when I was in college, I had people that wouldn't watch King of the Hill. Mm-hmm. I knew some people because they just couldn't look at them.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, just because I find the humor so funny, I guess I just tie the designs into that, and it just is all one happy package for me. But
happy package. That was my nickname in high school. I'll check it out. I'll add it to my queue. Mm-hmm. I hadn't even considered watching it, but because you recommend it, I feel I must.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
That's the kind of guy I am.
And Bob's Burgers thanks you.
That's right. And have you been catching up on any older releases or anything like that lately?
Yeah, we'll come to find later. Just because I've been so busy this week. Not only starting a new job, I also had jury duty this week. So I mean, it's just things stacked on top of things. I wasn't able to check out a lot of new films, but I saw. Well, let me start with an older film. I saw Jaws, a rewatched Jaws. Rewatched, but what's interesting is I watched it with a group of people who had never seen it before.
Wow.
So that's why we did it, because we'd been talking about it for years. Mm-hmm. These friends of ours, and we're kind of a movie group, and we were trying to go through the AFI list a year or two back. Excuse me. And they were all mentioning they hadn't seen Jaws, and so pulled it up. And it's really interesting because this is the movie that's credited with starting the summer blockbuster.
Right.
So I think going into it, everyone thought it was rated R, which is funny because it's rated PG.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. I mean, it starts with a girl who's totally naked.
Yes.
Getting savagely killed by a shark, and and so you think you're starting into a horror film.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
Yeah.
It's really, and it's funny too because again, being quote unquote summer blockbuster, it moves at a pretty slow pace, frankly. I mean, and I don't mean that it's boring, but I mean it takes its time. I mean, there's a lot of character moments and there's a whole scene where the main character is just sitting, staring into space, and his son is sitting and staring back at him because he's just mulling things over. But interestingly enough, it held everyone's attention the whole way through, and everybody loved it. So still holds up.
I actually, first of all, I didn't realize it was PG, even though I've seen it. That changes my plans for the day, actually, because after we record, I was actually going to take my boys to go see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too. But Jaws is PG.
So
I think it's
take
time.
That, kids.
Yeah, I think it's time. No, everything that you say. I actually this past summer I screened Jaws in one of my classes, and kind of the same thing. I mean, these are people who have mostly heard of it and they had not seen it, and I think it says something, the fact that it is an older film, and yet it earns its climax. Mm-hmm. And you know, I mean, pretty much even when they're on the orca, it's still pretty slow paced. I mean, it's about half an hour before the end when your pulse really starts racing and we get into that action climax. But it's all earned. I mean, you know, the scene you mentioned with Roy Scheider just like looking at his son. You know, you can see that as like the deleted scene on a modern DVD.
Totally.
Like, you know,
totally.
Brody stares at his son. You know, that's like the deleted scene.
right.
You know?
Play all. Yeah.
You know, I mean, all that stuff, and it's propulsive and action oriented, but it's not. You know, it's not a big movie. It's very it's about the human struggle against the elements, really, because Jaws. I mean, the shark is nature, basically.
Right.
You know.
Right. And just as a little tidbit, I mean, a lot of people may already know this, but Spielberg is pretty instrumental in the creation of the PG-13 rating.
Right.
He gets away with a lot, basically a lot of. But I guess in 1984, when he made Temple of Doom, which is totally an R-rated movie,
right?
and what's the other one? Gremlins, which he produced,
right?
Which feels very PG-13ish, I think. But anyway, PG-13 didn't exist at the time, but parents were so enraged over those films, you know, being PG and taking their little children to them, that that's how the PG-13 rating was created. And the first PG-13 rated film was Red Dawn.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's funny like how far we've come now, because now it's, you know, you have studios who are seeing how many F words they can cut out to make a R film, a PG-13 film. Like, you can have like 1.5, and it's okay, you know.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, well, because that's where the money is. That's where, you know it's not a children's film, so you can get adults interested, but you can also get younger people into it, but at the same time, it feels like now PG-13 is pushing up against its boundaries. Right.
Well, I know, you know, there's a lot of people who are upset because the RoboCop remake will probably be PG-13, and people are like, "Oh, it's not R, it's not getting my money." And I'm wondering if the day of a mass appeal R-rated action movie are over. Like, are we ever going to see those again? You know?
Yeah. Well, it just sort of depends what you do with it. I mean, The Dark Knight feels like an R-rated film,
right?
But it's not. So it's just, I don't know. It's all on tone, I think.
Meanwhile, the
tone of the film,
Dark Knight Rises is a Z-rated film, in that whenever I watch it, it's because it's boring. That's why. I have, by the way, I have tried desperately to rewatch that movie and give it a fair shake, and it is friggin' boring. I don't care what y'all say.
There's a very soggy fourth act. Let's go with it. The movie has 5 acts. Because there's so much that's so good in it. I mean, the part where he gets out by not using the rope. It's on HBO now every now and then. I'm like, God, that's so great. But it's like, there's a very soggy middle. You can act like, because the movie's what, like 2.5 hours? Maybe even more. Yeah.
This is true. It's an algorithm. You can watch 10 minutes, skip 20 minutes, watch 10 minutes, skip 20 minutes, and you'll get the whole experience. You'll get everything you need to out of that movie.
It's probably true.
And the other, any 10 minutes, skip any 20, watch any 10. It doesn't matter either way.
We're calling that right now. We'll call it the Zaki Rice's theorem.
That's right. It's mathematically tested. But just picking up on what you said about Jaws, I'm watching The Godfather with my class right now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, that's one of those flicks I have lost count the number of times I've seen it. I have entire chunks of that movie memorized, and it's the best. It's so gratifying to watch it with a crowd that's everyone's heard of The Godfather, right?
Right.
But I just laid it out. I was like, everyone must watch The Godfather at least once in their life, or you are a bad person.
Well, it's funny you say that because our movie group, our Jaws group from the other night, we were trying to decide what to do next. Do we want to continue with the AFI list? And a good number of them had not seen The Godfather. And so, instead of, we didn't give them a hard time. We're like, all right, well, then that is absolutely our next film. And they're all excited. They're excited to see it. They want to see it. So that'll be another interesting, the reverence that we have for that picture and a lot of other film fans. It'll be really interesting to see someone today who's never seen it, not a lot of frame of reference for it. How do they feel about it? So,
yeah, it's really something.
I will share.
You'll have to you'll have to reconnect with us about that. One last thing.
And then real quick, I want to mention one more film.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I watched a movie called Mud.
Oh, right.
Starring Matthew McConaughey. It was directed by Jeff Nichols, who did the film Take Shelter. Did you ever see Take Shelter with Michael Shannon?
I did not. I heard about it.
Yeah, it's that's about a guy who starts to have these hallucinations about the end of the world, and is he going crazy or is everyone else not seeing premonitions that he's seeing? It's
and
really
the world
movie.
That's ending, Krypton.
Right. Oh. Well, that'd be awesome if that was a really elaborate tie-in.
It's a prequel that nobody knows about.
Right. But no, it's Mud. It was pretty good. It was it's sort of a sleepy, southern story about these two boys who there's an island. I think they live in I can't remember if it's Alabama or Arkansas, but anyway, there's it's like a river town. All their houses are on a river, and so they go to this island and they discover a boat that's washed up in a tree, and they find this man living in there, Matthew McConaughey, and his character's name is Mud. And he starts having these boys run errands for him, and he started to get the impression that he might be wanted by the law. But he doesn't seem dangerous, and one of the boys is really interested in him, and the other boy's a little wary of him. And there's another character played by Reese Witherspoon that Mud wants the boys to communicate between, and then you start to see that all these forces are out looking for this guy. And I won't go further than that. But it's if you're looking for like sort of a change of pace, like a smaller, like I say, a little sleepier sort of film that has really interesting characters. I mean, it's a slow burn for sure, but there was a moment where we paused it for whatever reason to grab a drink or something, and we're like, oh, it's moving at a slower pace, and an hour had gone by.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it feels slow, but it is chugging along.
I've heard other people talk about it. Yeah, I've had a few people ask me if I've seen it, and that's another one of those ones that I'm going to have to check out at some point. Yeah. Real quick before we move on, I wanted to mention this. I thought this was amusing. I was recently reached out to by the editor-in-chief of the North Current, which is the high school newspaper for Glenbard North, which is where I went to high school. In the Chicago burbs. Yeah, and they did an article looking at former editors of the paper. I used to be arts and entertainment editor, and I was arts editor before that. Former editors who've gone on to some degree of notoriety, and just kind of interviewing them. And and I just got a copy of that last night. They sent me the PDF, and I was thinking, I was like, in the time since I've graduated high school, I managed to do a lot of stuff. Obviously you're always looking to do more, but definitely big picture. I think all three of us, we've accomplished a lot, right? But I was like, this is probably one of the coolest acknowledgments of having achieved something is when 15 years after you graduate, your high school newspaper is like, who went here? Zaki Hassan.
Yeah, that feels good. They're reaching out to you.
They're like we reached out to Zaki Hassan. We reached out to Todd Martins, who's, by the way, he's a music critic for the LA Times, who's a friend of mine, and Billy Corrigan. Because
really,
Billy Corrigan. It was not included in the article. They reached out to him, but he was also an editor on the newspaper, and he's of course. I feel like we should clarify. He's the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we reached out to so-and-so, 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 Zaki Hassan, and Billy Corgan. You know? So that's kind of cool. So
yeah, very cool.
I wanted to mention that. I'm like, that's kind of neat. So I'm excited about that.
Very neat.
Moving on, we have some listener letters, as we do each and every week. We try to start things out. First up, we have a new review for the show up on iTunes, and this is from MHT3, who is related to Johnny Five, I believe.
Hey!
We've gotten our reference in for the episode.
Yes. Check.
And it's under the title, Great Show. This podcast is like a college film course, but the fun part where everyone just sits around discussing the best movies of the week and sharing random movie knowledge. I've gotten many good movie recommendations as well as interesting views on movies I've already seen. I also love all the random Chicago references, from Dunkin' Donuts to COD.
Billy Corgan.
Yeah, there you go. Check. I have to say, I feel a little cool that I attended the same college as you guys. Keep up the good work. Wow.
Cool.
Yes.
Is that College of DuPage?
College of DuPage.
Right on, College of DuPage.
College of DuPage, I have to give props to College of DuPage, because if not for COD, we would probably not be doing this show.
That's very true. And I really mean it. I loved my time there.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it.
Well, and in a very real way, being a student there sent me on the path of where I'm at now, both in terms of being involved in film, but also in terms of being a teacher, because we talked about this before. You know, all three of us took Marco Benassi, who's a professor there, and I took a small group communication class with him in winter of '97. And early '98. I took that class with him, and it literally set the compass for the rest of my life, because now I'm a communications teacher, and it's, I mean, like, draw a straight line because of Marco. So, and you and I had a class with him, of course, and that's why we are where we are. So
yeah, I'm raising my coffee right now to Marco Benassi.
And my cup of water as well. We also have a comment left for us on the Movie Film Podcast Facebook page, so please do hit that up. And this is from Doug O'Laughlin, who's commented before. He says, "Great show, guys." This is in reference to the last episode. Probably the best I've heard so far of the ones where there are only two of you. So there's kind of a gauntlet we had to get through there. Given that there are only two of you, it was acceptable, I suppose. So, thank you for that, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.
And then we also have an email here, and this was that you received at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com, where I hope you will send us your queries and whatnot. I love your show. I love how positive you are, in contrast with a lot of other shows where people just tear down movies instead of being constructive. I don't really think we're that constructive, or that, I mean, I'll take it. But the question is, Buck Tradition, tell us the movies that you love that everyone else seems to hate.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting question. And that's from Ahmed, by the way.
But everyone else seems to hate. That's a good one. Ah, man, I wish I'd had some time to think about this. I don't know if this counts, and this is going to come as absolutely no surprise.
I'm going to say Short Circuit.
Short Circuit 2.
Oh, that is a surprise.
I grew up with Short Circuit 2, actually. I mean, I like the first one, but the second one is the one that I remember the most and love.
Wow.
But I'm sure, even the filmmakers of Short Circuit 2 are cringing right now as I say that. I don't know. What do you think, Zaki? Well, I know there's got to be a more, not famous, but more well-known one that people don't like that I like. I just can't think of it off the top of my head right now. You?
It's weird, because a lot of the stuff that that's like despised but I like is because of nostalgia, right? So
yeah,
Superman 3, and I'd probably put Short Circuit 2 in that for you, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. Similar idea.
Superman 3, Star Trek 5, Masters of the Universe, Rocky 5.
Right.
It's nostalgia, right? And even I didn't dislike Die Hard 5 as much as everybody else, because it was nostalgia for the whole, the whatchamacallit, the franchise. But one movie that I do like, that I think is I think hated on a little bit, is The Phantom with Billy Zane.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I think that's exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, because that's one of those things where it was just ignored and pretty much dismissed. But I think it's a fun little adventure movie, and it's got a script by Jeffrey Boehm, who wrote Indiana Jones 3. Simon Windsor directed it. I mean, it's got a great score by David Newman. It's this little movie. It doesn't aspire to the world, but I think it succeeds at what it's trying to be, which is just a fun little movie,
Mm-hmm.
And you have to. I mean, if you've seen the movie, it's Billy Zane playing the superhero, not the superhero, but the adventure hero, the Phantom from the newspaper strips, and the whole movie he's wearing like a full body sock, a purple. I mean, it's like a purple sock that he has over his entire body, and you have to be of a mindset where that doesn't look as ridiculous as it looks.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're not even going to make it to the starting line, because you're like, this is what the hell is this? But it's a fun movie. It's a fun little movie. And tangentially connected to that, although not really, because this movie has kind of grown in estimation, is The Rocketeer.
I love The Rocketeer. I didn't even know I was not supposed to love that movie. I love that movie.
But it's weird because it flopped big time. It came out in 1991. Nobody watched it.
Yeah.
And I'm with you where, at the time I didn't pay as much attention to box office, so I didn't realize that it was this thing. But it feels like our generation has now come of age and we're like, wait a minute, that's a good movie.
So I don't know if this is a great comparison, but and you liked Lone Ranger, but Lone Ranger is looked at as a flop of the summer. So I guess by comparison, that would be, they expected that to be a big franchise for Disney, which it did not turn into. Yeah.
So
I love the
Lone Ranger is
so
the
good.
Rocketeer of 2013.
Well, that hurts my heart. But I highly. Yeah. No, I was just thinking, for me, it's not really. I don't think it's what he means. But I think of all these movies that I love that I don't know that I would boldly proclaim, like License to Drive, a Corey and Corey movie from the 80s. I love that movie. Still. It was on Netflix, and I just rewatched it not too long ago. And what's the other? Toy Soldiers. Remember Toy Soldiers?
I love Toy Soldiers.
Which, again, that's not when you're going to go out and just be like, oh, man, you want to see, quality cinema?
But it is the only time you get to see Sean Astin as an action hero.
Yeah, exactly. And a terrorist thwarted by a remote control plane.
You know what I remember about that movie is I saw that in Saudi Arabia. It must have been 1990 or 89 or 90. So I was like 9 or 10, and me and my brother were watching it, and my dad was in the room, but he was reading a newspaper or something. And what I remember is it's the scene where Will Wheaton plays the son of a wealthy guy. Remember that?
I know exactly what you're saying.
And his dad arranges for his release, right? And he's like, well, your father said you can leave. And he's like, F you and F my father. Yeah. And right then, my brother and I both, our eyes shoot to my dad, who's just the newspaper's over his face. The newspaper comes down, and he's just like, what are you guys watching?
And that's the famous dad phrase. Right. When something, that all of a sudden there's a sex scene or someone gets wasted.
What are you watching?
Gun. It's what are you watching?
And we will one day, carry that tradition on, no doubt. Yeah,
and then move over.
But it's tough. There's definitely movies where, for me, I've talked about Lone Ranger so often that it's feeling like a crusade, so I don't want to spend time on that. But that was an example of a movie where I saw it and I was like, okay, and I even talked about it with you guys. And the day the reviews hit Rotten Tomatoes, it was just this movie killed a member of each of these critics' families, because I don't.
It's true. Yeah.
It was. The film itself bore no relation to the vitriol in the reviews, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. But that is a tricky question, because a lot of the things that I do like that are disliked have either become cult hits, or I like them just out of nostalgia, and I'm not gonna defend them.
Right.
That's
a good question, though.
It is, yeah. Moving on, I had an opportunity earlier this week to speak with actor, director, writer Joseph Gordon-Levitt about his new film.
That's pretty cool.
That is, yeah. I have to say, when you look at the roster of guests that we've had over the past year that we've been doing this show, it's from the outside looking in, it's like we've gotten some big names.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting.
Yeah, so for me, given that we've gotten so many great guests, this was a pretty big get, and it was exciting for me because he just seems like such a cool guy. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, man, I'd just love to chat up this movie. So he has a new film coming out on the 27th of September called Don Jon, and it is a new take on the story of Don Juan. And as I said, he wrote it, directed it, and he stars in it. And I had a chance to speak to him as part of a roundtable discussion, so I thought it might be fun to play some of the highlights of that discussion, and we can talk about it on the flip side.
Well, I won't put you on the spot about porn directly, but the rest of the stuff, how much was it based on things that have happened in your life and personal experiences?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all identify with both of these characters. We all have a tendency to be selfish, and we all have a tendency to sort of use people rather than really connect with them because it's easier. It takes more effort to actually pay attention to who's in front of you and learn what about them makes them a unique individual. That's a lot harder, and so we all, I think, have that tendency to just think we already know the person, put them in a box with a label. And I'll admit I'm guilty of that sometimes. I do my best to really stay present and treat everybody like an individual. But yeah, it's hard. So sure, I identify.
For your first feature, what kinds of things did you learn from other sets, other filmmakers to bring to this first experience?
Sure. Well, I just generally, having done this for so many years and been on so many sets, I feel that was a huge part of why I was able to pull this off. And in that way, I didn't feel like a first-time filmmaker, because generally when you say a first-time filmmaker, that's someone who's not really been on very many sets.
Yes.
Several of my favorite filmmakers I've worked for, and in fact, in 2011, the year before we shot Don Jon, I noticed this in all three of the directors that I worked for, Chris Nolan and Steven Spielberg, all three of these guys. And they're different guys, but they all had this thing in common that I noticed that I tried to keep in the front of my mind, which is a balance between having a thorough plan, but also being able to be spontaneous. And I think if you go too far in either direction, you can really mess up a movie, because if you're too married to your plan, then you can end up with something that's sort of stale. But if you don't stick to your plan enough, and you're too easy to kind of lure away into new ideas, then your movie can begin to lack a strong, unified voice. So, but that's something I noticed. All three of those guys, when they would find, because you get that question all day long when you're a director. It's like, okay, here's what we planned on doing, but now we could do this. What do you think? What should we do? Or an actor says, like, how about I say it this way instead of that way? And so much of what I love about the performances in Don Jon are the actors sort of spontaneously doing something that was different than what I expected. I love those moments. But sometimes a moment like that happens, and you're like, I love that. I love that you're doing it. I love that it feels organic, but there's a reason it was written this way, and because it ties into all these other things, and that's the director's job, to keep all those things in mind. An actor's job is to just stay focused on the present moment, and a director has to kind of keep an eye on everything. So you have to find that balance, and there's examples of both in this movie. Both moments there's tons of moments where the actors did stuff that I didn't expect, and it's in the movie, and I love it. There's other times where I like that, do you need to kind of make sure that, like, we hit these points that are in the script, because it connects to other points in the story.
What surprised you as a director that you weren't prepared for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny, because I've gotten that question a few times, and I can't think of anything. I mean, of course, the only thing I could really talk about is what I was just talking about, which is, like, artists, especially the actors, surprise me every day. And those are really the most thrilling moments of the entire multi-year process. When Scarlett would deliver a line just differently than what I had envisioned. I'm like, wow, I love that. That's so alive. Like, I never would have thought to do it that way. But I was hoping that's what would happen. I mean, that's what happens on movie sets. So I don't know. I honestly I felt pretty well prepared. Nothing really shocked me. Yeah. And that isn't to say it was easy. It's just, I felt familiar. All the different parts of it felt familiar.
So you have this production company, or kind of production forum, it seems like, Hit Record.
Mm-hmm.
Did that play into this? Did you get insight from it, or use kind of the artists that are part of that in this film?
So Hit Record, thanks for asking, first of all. So Hit Record has sort of been my moniker for years. And this is the first movie that has its name, Hit Record Films, on it. We also do, on hitrecord.org, this is this open collaborative process where we make all kinds of things. And I hope that one day we can make a full-length feature film on hitrecord.org. But I thought before doing that it was important to direct a film in the old-fashioned way, the way that I grew up. And there are some people from the community, some artists who worked on Don Jon. Wiro is one artist he's a great illustrator on the site, and he did some of the flashes, those kind of flash frames that you see in the movie. He made a lot of those. Who else? Campaign was a musician. He sang a little bit on the soundtrack. Mark, the creative director of the site, did the titles, etc. So there are people from the community, but no, mostly this is a traditionally made movie. Right now we're making a TV show on Hit Record, and that is fully open, fully collaborative. I'm directing it, but everybody's contributing to it right now these days. And just to clarify, it's not people contributing finished stuff that I then pick. It's we have these collaborative projects going, and people contribute their parts, and I direct. And I put out videos every day, sort of offering direction and feedback, and by being on the site and writing comments, and we're making all these little projects, short films and songs and cartoons and short documentaries, and we're going to put them together into these 8 episodes of TV. It's going to be on in January.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, what kinds of movies did you study to kind of get geared up to make this one?
Let's see. Well, one I think is really connected is Shampoo, the Hal Ashby movie.
Warren Beatty. That's right.
The Warren Beatty movie, and really all of Hal Ashby's movies, Harold and Maude, and Being There, etc. He's made lots of great movies, and he strikes a really great tone with his comedy that I love, where the comedy isn't coming from gags as much as it's coming from sort of relating to the people in the story. And Mike Nichols is another filmmaker like that, The Graduate, or
Carnal Knowledge?
Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah,
I watched that for sure. That's a great, lesser-known Jack Nicholson performance.
Oh, yeah.
And then even some of the movies I've been fortunate enough to be in, like 500 Days of Summer or 50-50, which are, again, they're sort of comedies that are they're based in the characters. And I was actually in the middle of shooting 50-50 when I first conceived of this story as a comedy, and really found this version of the character and started writing notes on that.
How long have you been planning to make the leap to directing, and what was it about this story that made you say this is the thing to make my entree?
Well, I mean, I've always been fascinated with all the different parts that go into filmmaking, and I've always played around with cameras and stuff ever since I was quite young. And then for my 21st birthday, I bought myself my first copy of Final Cut, the video editing software, and I think once I started editing, I loved it. I loved editing so much, and I still do. And that's really, I think, when you start editing, you're really making movies more than you can when you're just kind of shooting stuff, because that's what really tells the story, is juxtaposing this image with then this image. That's what makes it a movie. So since then, I've always been interested and kind of building up to it. And I've made tons of little short films and videos over the years. I mean, without exaggeration, probably hundreds of them. I don't even know. Lots and lots of little pieces. And why this one? Like I said, it's a story that resonates a lot with me because I've always paid a lot of attention to the way that the media influences how we see the world. And so I think it was that, and that's what sort of started me writing it. And the writing just kept going well until I had something finished. And I can't say that from the beginning of the writing process I knew for sure this is going to be my first. I just was enjoying writing it, but eventually I finished it, and like, wow, I got it all done. Right. And I found that throughout the writing process, I wasn't just thinking about the dialogue. I was thinking about, well, here's how the camera would really make this work, or here's how the editing would really complement this story point, or here's how the music needs to be for this scene to be what I'm picturing. And so by the time I finished the script, I was like, geez, I've thought of all this stuff. Like, I should just do it. And set about trying to make it happen.
Okay, so we'll talk about Don Jon a little bit more later on in the show when we talk up the new releases. But as you can tell just from hearing that, he's very articulate, and I've always been impressed by the guy because I think he's got his head on straight, and I think to go from being a child star, basically acting out the cradle, to adulthood in the industry shows a certain amount of poise and determination, and that he's not. He's got his head on straight, so I think he definitely demonstrates that. Yeah, and it was cool to hear him talk about all the this is what I learned from Spielberg, and this is what I learned from so and so. It's like must be nice,
Yeah.
Moving on, we have some headlines to discuss, and it's been kind of a slow couple weeks, but barring a few announcements here and there. I thought this is. It's the Septembers, yeah. It's not a lot. We're kind of in the lull between the big, as stuff starts ramping up for next summer, I would expect. But this is just following up on something we've been talking about. Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah.
It's
what?
Yeah. When did this happen? It's
like a poo when he's going off on Skinner, when Skinner's talking about the book he wants to write while he's on sabbatical, and it's basically Jurassic Park, and a poo's like, what?
Call it Billy and the Brontosaurus. That's there's this Facebook group that's like Simpsons jokes that don't make sense anymore.
Nobody gets anymore. Yeah. If you know what we were just talking about, I look forward to it every morning.
Yeah, it's hilarious because it's totally one of those things. You know what? On Netflix, I tend to watch old SNL episodes from like when we were kids.
Yeah, and I didn't even know those were on there.
Yeah, you can. Well, and they're like edited down, so you'll get like 45-minute highlights from individual episodes. I'm assuming there's like rights issues, which is why they can't have like music guests or whatever.
Music and stuff, yeah.
You realize that show is the very definition of temporal, where it's like
referencing like Joey Buttafuoco and stuff.
Yeah, because I'm watching stuff from when we were kids, right? So Kevin Nealon was doing the news update and stuff, and they're talking, like Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers, and people are laughing hysterically, and I'm like, what was? Oh yeah, yes, yes, that is amusing. 20-year-old humor.
Yeah,
I mean it's like it's the equivalent of like when we were kids hearing jokes about the Eisenhower administration,
Right.
But anyway, we're talking about Ben Affleck as Batman. So he hasn't really...
What? Sorry. Go.
So he hasn't really discussed it in public, but he made an appearance on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. And this is really the first time that he brought it up. So I thought, well, why don't we play the audio from Ben Affleck's appearance, where he mentions the Batman thing. Let's go ahead and play that.
When you see the movie, obviously, but I was like, I'm a big boy. I don't need to... I could handle the Emmy snub. Yeah. I can handle anything. So
I'll let you borrow it.
So I went on I said, just don't use the internet for a couple of days. And I said, I handle
I'm tough.
Yeah, I'm very tough.
Boston,
I saw the announcement. I look on this thing. I look down the first comment.
Yeah.
It's like, Ben Affleck's going to be Batman. The first one just goes, like, maybe it's just,
get off the internet. All right. Let's throw out the computers for a week. I don't want to look at
we're going to be
this stuff.
Luddites for a while, kids.
Exactly.
So I got to say, I think that a lot of the haters may have been won over just by seeing his appearance on Late Night.
Yeah, that he would even. Some people wouldn't even want to talk about, opposition.
Right.
Just sort of ignore it and sort of be defiant against it. But yeah, he has a good sense of humor about it. So I think, how can you hate that?
Yeah, I mean, it's and you realize like he's dealt with this stuff for so long.
Sure.
That you have to have a pretty thick skin. I was laughing hysterically at his reaction. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah,
that just summed it up. Another update to a story we've been kind of following here is the fate of Jurassic Park 4, which for a while there there was no fate. We didn't know anything about it because
So originally supposed to come out next summer, 2014.
Exactly, and then Sanity took hold at some point, and they were like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they've set a date, which is mid-June of 2015.
Or we need to come up with, out here in Southern California, they shut down one of the major freeways. And it couldn't just be a day where they shut down the major freeway. They had to give it a title. They called it Carmageddon. So I feel like summer 2015 needs a moniker.
Well, I still stand by Nerdgasm.
Nerdgasm? Yeah. Nerdgasm 15?
Nerdgasm 15.
Actually, that sounds like that might already exist.
I'd check, but I do not want to Google that term.
I know.
I feel like that could end badly. But so right into the middle of 2015, they've got summer of 2015. They've got Jurassic Park 4, which has the title Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Now I actually haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. Now I saw the logo and everything.
Yeah.
And I had a little tingle go down my back. And I showed it to my kid, who's, of course, the big Jurassic Park fan in the house. I'm like, look, this is Jurassic Park 4. It's going to be called Jurassic World. And he says, why can't they call it Jurassic Park World?
And then this whole table of suits was just like, oh my gosh, he has a point.
So that's the new title. It's going to be Jurassic Park World.
Yeah.
Now, we still don't know anything about it, really, do we?
No, just that it involves another park that is in operation.
So
that's all we know.
You can interpret the title two ways. I was kind of like, it could be, the park it's not called Jurassic Park, it's called Jurassic World, like SeaWorld or Disney World. But I was it could also be like dinosaurs are just all over the place.
Yeah, and maybe there are franchises of this park all over the world. There's Jurassic Park Tokyo, there's Jurassic Park, Los Angeles or California, and then maybe they all, freak out and there's dinosaurs all over the place.
Yeah. Okay, so and it's still kind of draped in secrecy. We still everything you describe sounds cool, but on the other hand, I'm just like, that just sounds like a really bad idea. Not as a movie,
yeah.
but why would one do that?
That's how I feel about everything. There's a good version of it, and there's a bad version of it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but I'm cool with not knowing a whole lot right now. I'm, like we were talking about with the Gravity trailer. I still, when it's on television, I don't look. Like I turn the channel. Like I don't want to know. Like I want to go in and be surprised. And so, same with this. Like I don't mind being teased a little bit, but yeah, I'm ready to go in and just sit back and enjoy it.
I saw Gravity a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Right after our last recording, in fact. I watched it the day after.
Yeah, and you've had some positive things to say.
Yeah, so, well, it's... I mean, all I'm going to say, and we'll talk about it much more, when we're all able to talk about it, because it doesn't come out for another 2 weeks yet. But it is the best use of 3D I have ever seen. Like, even better than Avatar.
See, I don't even know what to imagine, so I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, it purely here's what I'm going to say. It demands to be seen in IMAX in 3D for the full effect. I don't know how it'll play on regular screens. I would almost say, like, don't even bother on home video. Like, it's so integral, and that's not to minimize the film itself. And again, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I mean, I'm just, in terms of how it would play, I feel like the dimensional experience was so tied in with that I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're saying basically don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't say, oh yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah,
eventually.
it's not an eventually movie. It's a watch it now.
Yeah.
And pay the the $40, hand over the liver, whatever the fees are these days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I mean, secrecy, it can work. So it works in favor of that movie. Another now we were just talking about The Lone Ranger and how that was such a disaster, and I think we mentioned this before, that Disney's looking at a $200 million write down because of how that movie underperformed. It didn't even make $100 million domestically, which is
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, just being a Johnny Depp movie alone.
Yeah.
I mean, with what he's done with Pirates, and I don't know, he's a household name. Now, I mean, everybody always knew who he was, but now he's a beloved household name, let's say.
Right.
So that's still shocking.
It's a blow to his rep as kind of indomitable, but it's also a blow to me because this morning I got an email from Amazon that said we have a release date for The Lone Ranger on Blu-ray, and I was like, yay. I was the one. I was like a little Cindy Lou Who. I was like, yay. and this is the measure of how big it flopped. It comes out like December, which
what do you mean by that?
Well, in the sense that the more
there's not a demand.
There's not a demand, right? If a movie's very successful, they'll put it out like 30 days after it's in theaters.
Yeah, maybe they're just, I mean, that's right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just praying that it'll be like a last minute, oh, I can get them this for Christmas.
This is left on shelves.
Yeah.
Everything else is gone. But related to that, so obviously that movie flopped, and it was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who's been a mainstay at Disney since 1995, 94. Disney has been his home base, and it was announced earlier this week that as of next year, Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer are going their separate ways.
Yeah. Yep. I guess his contract expires, and they're just not going to renew it.
So Brian, what do you make of that?
I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer, you can't dispute the guy. I mean, he's got a track record that goes back almost 30 years. Of really strong, popular films. But at the same time, it just feels like... when you think of a Jerry Bruckheimer film, unlike a lot of producers, you can already picture what it looks like, what it sounds like. Like, he has a style stamp. Mm-hmm. And it feels like, for a time, that was doing really well for Disney. I mean, you had the pirate films, you had National Treasure, which, again, they all kind of feel... They have almost like a sepia tone to them, and like Hans Zimmer score, and very... Yeah. But now it seems like Disney is going in the Marvel Star Wars direction, which is very different. And so they're just evolving. And I'm not saying that's better or worse. They're just moving on. And but Bruckheimer's had some not so successful films with them not so long ago, with Prince of Persia, Sorcerer's Apprentice. What's the other one I'm thinking of? G-Force. Remember G-Force? The movie about like the super spy gerbils or whatever.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
And it's funny because when you think of Sorcerer's Apprentice, which I never saw, but again, I remember the imagery from it. It's very Bruckheimer-ish, but it doesn't feel like anything people would be interested in right now. I think people would rather see Iron Man, and it seems, even though it hasn't happened yet, Star Wars.
Right. Well, so in other words, the zeitgeist has moved on from the prototypical Bruckheimer movie.
Yeah. But, in the article that I read, they were saying, he still has some films in the pipeline. But it's interesting because these are the films in his pipeline. Top Gun 2, Bad Boys 3, Beverly Hills Cop 4. So, they're just sort of revisiting his popular films. And two of those are not even sequels. Those are like threequel, fourquels. Right. This is... kind of going back to the well, it seems.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking back to the 90s, where it was basically every summer you had the big Jerry Bruckheimer action movie.
Yep.
You know,
The Rock.
Yeah, well, and before
Armageddon.
95 was Bad Boys, 96 was The Rock, 97 was Con Air, 98 was Armageddon, 99 was Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean, that's a pretty good run of you know, interchangeable action movies.
yeah.
You know, of those, probably The Rock is the best. That's what I would say is the best.
Yeah, I'd
you know,
agree.
3 of those are by Michael Bay. I mean, it's you definitely see that kind of an assembly line quality. You know, and I guess that's what it is, right? I mean, if he's making product, at some point people are just tired of that product.
Right.
But they are still going to make Pirates movies, I'm assuming, until Johnny Depp dies.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Well, and what was the last one that it seemed critically nobody liked? 4, Pirates 4, which it's easy to forget there is a Pirates 4.
Yeah.
But I don't have it in front of me, but that was, I mean, that did really, really well.
Well, internationally, because I think domestically it made the least of all of them.
Yeah.
But internationally, I don't know. People are more.
Yeah, there's still no reason to stop making them at this point.
Well, and at this point, I mean, domestic is just not even. It's
kind of irrelevant. Yeah.
It's becoming increasingly irrelevant. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of Disney, this is a film which I was only aware of on, you know, kind of the edges of my awareness, but you brought it to my attention. There's a film called Escape from Tomorrow.
Right, which that premiered at Sundance, and a lot of people were saying it's interesting but unreleasable. And the reason being was this movie was shot illegally inside. Was it Disneyland or Disney World? It might have been Disney World, but either way, it takes place in a Disney park, which you are not allowed, of course, to film without permits.
Right.
And they made a narrative. I mean, it's not a documentary. It's not some sort of verite sort of art film. I mean, this is like a narrative that takes place inside a Disney theme park that they shot without permission.
Right.
And so naturally, a lot of people are really curious what in the world that would look like, but also if it would ever get an official release, because how would Disney ever allow that to happen? But as it turns out, this past week, Disney is going to ignore it. I shouldn't say they're going to allow it, but they're going to ignore it. And let's see, I have the statement here. Basically, they're saying a studio source says that it's to avoid giving Tomorrow attention that could lead to bigger box office. So they feel like this is sort of a niche film. Most people will probably never even hear of it, let alone come across it. So if we don't even give it any attention, they don't risk more people becoming aware of it. So just ignore it. Just don't look, is what they're saying. Just don't look.
Now, what's interesting to me is that you'd think at the very least they'd be like, you know, just let us wet our beak, and you can do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Like it's interesting to me that they're turning down money.
I wonder what that would even look like. I mean, I'm sure a film like this couldn't even afford to pay for any licensing or whatever that would entail.
But you'd think they would be like, look, we understand you're no budget and whatever. Like I pictured that lawyer from The Simpsons, you know, these are our terms, you know.
Right. Right.
I figure like give us, you know, 2% of the gross or whatever.
I see. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's interesting, and it's coming out in October, I think, theatrically and on video on demand.
Okay.
I'm sure I'll check it out, but I've heard that people were just sort of cool on it, like it's a little, you know, whatever. I'm sure I don't know how they would manage to pull anything off.
Yeah.
You know, a cohesive story that way. But at the same time, and this isn't my original thought. I've read this everywhere, but I'd almost be more interested in a documentary
about
behind
the
scenes,
making of
how in the world they pulled it off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the definition of guerrilla style. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
So this premiered at Sundance last year?
This year.
This year, okay.
Earlier this year, yeah.
That's interesting to me too, because I mean that's really what Sundance is all about, is kind of giving.
Yeah.
You know, that was its original incarnation. Actually, speaking of Sundance, kind of a tangent here, but I just saw, and we were just talking about Gravity. I saw another film earlier this week called All Is Lost, which stars Sundance, right? It stars Robert Redford,
yeah,
who we haven't seen in a while. Really, I think.
Yeah.
Next time we see him, will be in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He's going to be. He's going to be the villain in that film, which I guess was meant to be a surprise, but he revealed it, which I guess you can do when you're. Oh. He's like, yeah. They're like, why'd you do it? He's like, I wanted to play a villain.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
But this film, we're just talking about Gravity, which is these astronauts trying to survive in the vacuum of space with, there's no support in sight. I mean, what do you do when you're stuck in space? All Is Lost is like that same story from a different angle, where it's a man who's stuck on a yacht that's sinking in the middle of the ocean, and it's just 2 hours of watching Robert Redford trying to stay alive, stay above water, and it is riveting in that you can there's like 5 lines of dialogue in the entire movie.
Really?
Who's he going to talk to, right? He doesn't have a volleyball around, right?
I was actually just thinking about that. It's sort of like Castaway.
Yeah.
It's
the man against the elements, and it's one of these movies where you're just like, you have such a degree of investment, even though you know nothing about him. Like, we know zero about his character.
Huh.
Nothing. Like, to the point that in the credits, his name is the character. It's like Robert Redford as our man. Because when you think, I mean, he could be a murderer, right? But we don't know. Like, we don't know why he's on the ocean. We don't know anything. We just know he's got this boat, and it's also, and we'll talk about it more. I just saw it, so it's really like stayed with me. It's just man against nature. What's more primal than that? And it's a situation where it's this random debris struck his boat, and that's what's causing the leak. So it's something that he's had no control over.
Right.
But he's stuck in this situation. And the best kinds of films are the ones where you're like, what would I do? What would I do in this situation?
Yep. Right.
If you're able to, and this is that, right? Because what's more primal than that? Just
well, you have me hooked. You told me about it yesterday. I didn't even know what it was when you told me the title.
Yeah,
and then you texted me after you got out and saying how good it was. And yeah, I mean, I'm very curious. That sounds really interesting to me. Is it playing theatrically, or
it will be? I believe it's going to hit theaters sometime in October.
Okay.
So
that definitely sounds like something I'd like to see.
Yeah, I think this was playing. It was playing at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival.
I see. Yeah.
So a lot of those movies I've been able to catch, including Don Jon and stuff too. But and we'll talk about it more, because I'm hoping I'll be able to talk to the director of All Is Lost in a few weeks. So
cool.
We can talk about that more. But other headlines now. I'm not a video game person at all. Zero. You have a Wii or an Xbox or one of them things, right?
Yeah. I have
Atari.
a Wii
what do you
and
have?
a PlayStation 3. But I'm not a huge gamer either. Usually I find like one game per year that I sort of glom onto, and then at night before you go to bed, like I just play for a little bit, and then I get really into it, and then I'm done and I feel good about it, and then I'll find another one.
And then you feel bad
several months later. Yeah, I don't play a ton.
Okay.
But yeah.
So are you a Grand Theft Auto fan?
I'm actually not. I'm not. But
I'm a fan of the concept. I've never played the game, but I indulge in Grand Theft Auto all the time.
Yeah.
It's just a hobby.
Yeah.
But so Grand Theft Auto 5, which to be honest, I didn't realize that there were only 5. I assumed there were a lot more.
Yeah.
But Grand Theft Auto 5 came out earlier this week, and we're recording on Saturday, the 21st of September. And it made $1 billion in its first 3 days of release.
Yeah.
Now,
Forbes said it was the biggest entertainment launch in history.
Okay, so
$1 billion in 3 days.
Now,
That's
how much does each game cost?
$60.
$60. So I mean, I don't even want to map that out. But so that means a lot of people waited in line to buy the. Now, I've never played the game. Have you ever played GTA?
I have, I don't remember which one. I've played one of them.
Okay, so
maybe in college.
So what is the appeal of this game?
Well, that's what's so interesting about it is you're less than reputable characters, and you're sent out on these missions. But the thing is these missions aren't just go out and kill this guy or what. I mean, they're really violent, like shooting at police officers. And you, again, I'm coming from, I don't know a ton about this, so people listening who are really into this game are probably gonna be like, you're totally wrong on this. But there's sort of like a star rating in the corner, and the more chaos that you create, if you shoot at a police helicopter, you get more stars, and you literally hook up with prostitutes, and in this game. I mean, it's really boundary pushing, let's say, and that's what I find so interesting about it being the highest grossing video game of all time. I mean, this isn't a game for everyone. I mean, clearly children should not be playing this game,
right?
And not even just with Call of Duty, which is violent, and kids probably shouldn't be shooting other people in the head either. But this is that's military doing military things. This is just being a thug. And so I find it kind of interesting that that's the game, the biggest selling game of all time. And yeah, I mean, I was looking, it said for, context in this one article, it said Dark Knight, one of the biggest Hollywood blockbusters ever, made just over $1 billion worldwide, period.
Right.
So what this game made in 3 days, Dark Knight's entire run. So,
wow. So
I don't know. And it says, what was the other one? Avatar made $2.8 billion worldwide, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is set to dwarf that figure in its first week.
Well, and related to that,
crazy.
I read an interview with the game, the programmers or the company, I guess, that releases them, and they were asked like, would you want to make a Grand Theft Auto movie? And they're like, no.
Right? Why?
Why would they? It's like they're going to dwarf that in however many days.
Yeah,
that's extraordinary though. Yeah. When I was a kid, the most boundary pushing game was Leisure Suit Larry.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
And that's kind of cartoonish now. I wonder, by the way, how much of the appeal of the Grand Theft Auto movies is because of we're in the the Fast and Furious movies too. Are very popular.
That could be, yeah.
It's very much in the same vein,
Yeah, but also the previous record I should mention was held by Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and it made $1 billion in 15 days.
Oh, okay.
So that's what. Again, at 15 days to make $1 billion is
still good.
Nothing to sniff at.
Yeah.
So that's.
And the
games are becoming. I'm sorry.
Not becoming. They are.
They are, yeah. And so it almost doesn't surprise me that the makers of the game would just be like, movies, whatever. We're good.
And what's interesting is that whenever you have a movie adaptation of a game, it always sucks. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, a game adaptation of a movie also sucks.
Yeah. Funny that.
Yeah, so because I'm straining my head here. Like, name me one video game-based movie that's good.
Super Mario Brothers.
Well, we accept that as a given.
That's a lie.
Super Mario Brothers, I have to say, you have to watch it because
I still haven't seen it. So
the fact that movie exists is a testament to something. Because they're not just like, let's make a Mario Brothers movie. They're like, we have to. It's like the Christopher Nolan Mario Brothers movie. Where you're like, we have to find a real-world explanation and a justification for everything.
Right.
So
right.
Mario doesn't just eat this friggin' drug and get superpowers. No, he's got this, pneumatic pistons that let him jump high,
Oh, I see.
Yoshi is like a velociraptor,
Adorable.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't want to... Right, yeah.
It's fascinating to me because you're like, why would the version of this game that you want to make into a movie be that movie?
Yeah. That's something I've never understood is when you adapt something from whether it be a book or a video game or a cartoon into a movie, why you change the essence.
Right.
of the original property. I mean, that's why everybody loves it. That's why everyone wants to go see that film. I've never understood why people do that. The thinking behind that is just
and it's nothing new. I mean, I remember. I don't remember. I wasn't around, but they used to have movie serials back in the 30s and 40s, right? So they did the very first screen adaptation of Captain America was a movie serial. Mm-hmm. And it was, Steve Rogers is Captain America. He's the skinny kid who becomes, he wants to join the war effort. So he becomes. You've seen the movie. So the movie serial version of Captain America is a crusading district attorney named Grant Gardner. Wants to fight injustice, so he puts on a Captain America suit. He doesn't have a shield, but he does have a gun. So at that point, it's like, why don't you just call it Captain Justice or something, and just why go through this facade, I mean,
that's sort of famous, right? Early 2000s or late 90s when they wanted to do a Superman film, but they didn't want to. Kevin Smith talks about this.
Yeah.
Where he was asked to adapt a Superman film, but they didn't want to have him fly.
Right.
He wasn't going to wear a cape.
Yeah.
It's like, so why? It's just bizarre.
Well, it's what I remember about that is they were like, we need to make him more hip. We need to have him more 90s style. And so in this, if you read the script, like in the stage directions, it's like, criminals are doing this and everything, and then Superman. We see our first shot of Superman, 90s style. That's his way of just being like, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
It's so odd.
Air Jordans, tight-rolled jeans. I don't know.
Right. High hair,
Yeah. Blasting vanilla ice through his Sony Walkman.
Yeah, good vibrations, I can see it.
Yeah.
Or that's Marky Mark, I guess, right?
Right.
We were just talking about Fast and Furious. I wanted to mention this very quickly. We've got Fast and Furious 7 is filming right now. And they've got Kurt Russell in there, which has me saying, wow, like they've really stacked this. Kurt Russell is going to be the villain in Fast and Furious.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, and they're bringing
Makes me
back...
think of just him as Stuntman Mike in Death Proof.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I was thinking...
like a handsome, winky villain.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell's one of those guys who he's kind of disappeared a little bit lately, but he's got charisma. They're also bringing back Lucas Black from the third Fast and Furious movie. He was the main character, the guy who goes to Tokyo and learns to
drive. The poster for this next movie is going to look like a classroom photo.
That's right. It's got a big
so
cast.
many people.
You know what's funny though? I blame you guys because every piece of Fast and Furious news, I'm like, oh, good Fast and Furious news, cool. Oh, it's so awesome, And like 6 months ago, I was like, F Fast and Furious, F all of you. I hate everybody who's made these movies hit, and now I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. We drive cars and they're fast. They're furious too. So I don't know if that says that the movies are worth watching or that I've become an idiot. But either way, I am excited about it.
On Facebook, your personal quote is, I live life 1 mile at a time or whatever.
Well, I told you, right? I have students quote Dominic Toretto.
I will be honest, that I do not understand. I don't remember him saying anything very memorable or worth repeating. But I love when the cars go fast.
My favorite Dominic Toretto quote is, I am Superman. Oh, wait, that's the Iron Giant. Because I have an assignment that I have him do. I have him do a tribute speech. Pay tribute to somebody who's been important in your life. And I leave it open. I'm like, it can be a real person, it can be fictional. I don't care. Just speak from the heart. So I've heard the Dominic Toretto tribute speech and not from guys, from ladies.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not judging it. I just think it's interesting.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm not either. I obviously am removed. Like I said, I enjoy those films, but they don't mean that to me.
Right.
But I mean, at that age, that's when culture does mean something to you like that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's we're getting old. That's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what Indiana Jones means to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh, dude,
I mean, I get it.
Speaking of Indiana Jones, did you hear this? Now there's a website called trekmovie.com, which is, as the title implies, it has news about Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
And so they did an editorial or an op-ed that was called "Star Trek is Broken."
Yeah.
And it was critiquing the new film and commenting on it. So Bob Orsi, who is one of the co-screenwriters, did you? Based on your reaction, I'm assuming you heard about it.
Yeah.
So Bob Orsi. Now I don't blame the guy. He took it kind of personally, right? Because he's somebody who has.
How can you not? I mean, he's human. Yeah.
Well, and he's been engaging with fans the whole time, and so he feels a certain amount of connection. He's like, "Come on, you guys, whatever. We worked hard on this. Look, nobody's talked more to the fans than me," and blah blah blah. This whole thing, and then he makes a comment, which I have a feeling that's going to go on his tombstone. Which is you say that this movie doesn't have social commentary. Our movie has more social commentary than Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I say this as a personal friend of Harrison Ford.
Yeah. It's like, huh?
That's like it's like a dick measuring contest at that point, where it's like, I'm friends with Harrison Ford, and I was like, you know what? The guy might have had good intentions, but that's the thing that's gonna. That's what he's gonna be known for now, is being that guy who said that.
Yeah. Yeah, and he goes on.
He said a lot of other stuff too. Yeah,
he said a lot of other stuff, and then apparently he deleted his Twitter.
His Twitter. Well, you know what this all started with, because there was some convention. I've never been to a Star Trek convention, but there was some convention where they took a vote for the ranking the Star Trek movies, and Star Trek Into Darkness was voted 13th of the 12 Star Trek movies.
What?
Yeah, this is true.
13th of the 12?
Yeah, because this is interesting. Galaxy Quest was thrown in, and and that I swear to God, and that ranked higher than Star Trek. Star Trek Into Darkness was voted dead last. So he took it a little personally,
Yeah, that would hurt. That'd sting.
But you know what? And God, we've talked about this already, so I don't want to spend too much time. But it really does feel like that movie. Everyone who did it is just ready to forget about it and move on.
Yeah. I mean, I remember we talked about it, and I enjoyed it. I'm not I haven't seen all the Star Trek movies, so I mean, I'm not a Trekker. I haven't seen all the original Star Trek films. I enjoyed it as an action film, but I suppose if I put it in the Star Wars universe and what Star Wars means to me, I can understand how you wouldn't feel, sort of like with the prequels, where you're like, all right, I mean, I understand there's a couple thrilling moments in here, but I don't see how this stands next to these other things that I revere.
Yeah.
So
I
get it.
I watched it with my wife, and before Into Darkness had come out in the theaters, I had watched Wrath of Khan with her, and she had never seen that, and she really liked that. She's not a Star Trek fan at all, and this one. First of all, like, you have the reveal in my name is Khan, and she's like, "What? Come on,"
Yeah.
And then at the end, she was like, "That was entertaining."
Yeah.
And so I mean, if entertainment is all you want from your entertainment, then I suppose that's fine. But it is forgettable, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Moving on. We also have, speaking of Star Wars, we have Star Wars news as we do every week. And Brian, that is your department. So tell us what's new in the galaxy far, far away.
Well, I'll toss this out at the beginning because these are all rumors. I don't like getting into rumors too much because what is this worth? You know what I mean? Until it's solid. But there's just some casting rumors. Michael B. Jordan from Fruitvale Station, rumored to be reading for something. Saoirse Ronan, who was in Hannah. Most recently, the host, apparently she's up for some major character, which is interesting because she apparently turned down a role in the new Avengers film.
That's right.
And and
that's going to Elizabeth Olsen.
What's her name? Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen, yeah. She's going
who I'm becoming a big fan of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just saw Marcy May Marlene.
Yeah.
Really interesting. She's really good.
To me, she'll always be Michelle Tanner.
No, this is their sister.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
They all look like one of them.
Hard
Olsens.
to confuse them. Yeah, but anyway, so we'll see if those pan out. But let's say this quote here real quick. J.J. Abrams was talking about, every now and then he'll throw a quote or two about the films coming up, and he was there. I guess Entertainment Weekly asked him about the spirit and the tone of the movie, and if he could compare it to a previous Star Wars film, which one would he compare it to? And he was saying, it's impossible to say it's evolving thing, and it's subjective how you feel about the previous films. But he was saying, I have the quote here. He was saying it's been nice to see how important it is and to be reminded how important it is to so many people. We all know that George Lucas's dream has become almost a religion to some people. Mm-hmm. And he remembers reading a thing somewhere. Someone wrote about just wanting the new film to feel real, to feel authentic. And he says, I remember I felt that way when I was 11 years old and when I saw the first one. And as much as a fairy tale as it is, it felt real. And to me, that is exactly right. So for me, my big concern is I really do feel like J.J. Abrams is a good storyteller. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he favors sizzle over
steak.
Steak, yes. And there are some moments. One that always stands out to me is in Mission Impossible 3. Mm-hmm. There's a moment where Tom Cruise is doing some mission, and we leave him and we go to his two partners who are out in a car, and one of them's kind of nervous.
Right.
And he sees that the other one is saying like a little, like talking to herself. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, it's just this prayer my mother taught me. And you have this quiet moment. He's like, well, can you teach that to me? And she goes, yeah. And then all of a sudden you hear Tom Cruise scream like, look up, look up. And then he bursts out a window and lands on top of the car.
Right.
And I'm like, that is awesome. Like, I actually cared about that small moment for a second. And they're like, no, screw you. We're in an action movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. Like, no, remember? Like it intensified everything. It turned it up to 11. So he's very good at that. But at the same time, Star Wars isn't always about sizzle. Star Wars, to me, the original trilogy, is about really caring about these characters and their stakes. So I'm really hoping it's an awesome marriage of the two. And it seems that he is aware of that. So I'm hoping, not to sound like everyone else on the internet, but I hope it doesn't feel exactly like the Star Trek films where there's a lot of always moving cameras, lens flares popping here and there. Like, I really do hope there's an authenticity to it. An authenticity to the stakes, to the characters. Seems he's aware of it, so I find that as good news. Do you agree?
The more I think first of all, from an aesthetic point of view, I think he's going to very much make them of a piece with at least the original trilogy for sure. So I have a feeling that the lens flare thing is going to be minimized and it's not going to be as much. And to me, I feel like there is no way to not be disappointed by these new films.
That's true. In a manner of speaking, only because with the original films, those were original. Right. We were being handed that. I can't say that because I didn't see them in the theater. But as I watched them as a kid, I had no anticipation. I was just accepting them as they were handed to me.
Right.
But now we're anticipating with unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, it's Phantom Menace all over again.
It's not the same. It's not. It can't be the same. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So obviously we'll have more to say as that, as we continue to find out more about that. Any other Star Wars news?
Yeah, I want to say I read the first issue. We had brought this up before, but the comic book series called The Star Wars, where they've adapted the first draft of Star Wars from George Lucas.
That's right.
That is out. First issue is out. I think it comes out monthly now. But if it sort of depends how interested you actually are, I suppose, in Star Wars. Again, these are the movies of my childhood, and so for me, I love learning about the making of them. I love watching all the behind the scenes of them. Still to this day, when I see new behind the scenes photos, they get me excited. So for me, it's been really interesting to see the movie that could have been. Or even just knowing what Lucas's original intentions were and how they evolved. So, if that sounds appealing to you, I think it's worth checking out. I won't spoil certain things, but I'll say it starts out where Anakin is a teen, and his father is General Skywalker, and he goes to his pal, Kane Star Killer,
right,
and asks him to train his son Anakin to become a Jedi. And Starkiller says that he can't train him for reasons that I won't really get into. I guess they would sort of be spoilery. But it's just interesting. These names are familiar, but the situations are different. Darth Vader is in there, but he's a man. He doesn't wear I should say he's a man wearing a suit, but not a mask. He hasn't been...
Oh.
As far as we know, he's not half man, half robot yet.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and he's actually a right-hand man to, well, I guess similar to the first movie in a way. I mean, you sort of forget about it because Darth Vader is so memorable, but he is Tarkin's right-hand man in the first film.
Right.
Or I should say
that's the, you know, this is where Lucas's mythology sort of separated from where it was originally, right? Because it's in the first film, like separate from what you're saying about the Star Wars. If you take, there's a very different sequel to the original Star Wars that could have been made that felt very much of a piece with the first one, but yet went in a completely different direction, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a sequel where Darth Vader is not Anakin Skywalker, or he's not Luke's father. Because this is my contention, and based on, you know, the evidence that's out there, Lucas came up with the idea of making Vader Luke's father after the first movie. Mm-hmm. That was not, you know, when Obi-Wan this is my beef. You know how Obi-Wan lies to Luke?
Yeah.
Well, originally he wasn't lying to him. When Luke is like, "Hey, what happened to my dad?" and he's like, "Oh, you know, he was killed and betrayed and murdered." Well, that was the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you actually think about it, well, that's a horrible thing to say. That's a horrible lie to tell.
Yeah.
To this kid, you're like, "Oh yeah, you know, the guy that I left burning in a thing, you know, he's the guy who killed your father, you know."
Right.
This kid who's got anger and abandonment issues, you're turning him into a guided missile that you're shooting at your failure. Like, this is Obi-Wan's evil scheme. He's like, "I'm going to fix my mistake." Right?
Yeah. That's why I always love that speech in Return of the Jedi when he's like, "You said Darth Vader killed my father." He's like, "Well, what I said was true from a certain point of view."
Yeah, that's the think about that for a second. Hey, you were sleeping with my wife. And it's like, well, you know, you should have seen it coming because from a certain point of view, you know, it's like, no, hold on a second.
Not necessarily from a certain point of view, yeah.
I mean, that's a douchey thing to say. Even if Obi-Wan in Jedi was like, "Luke, how could I tell you the truth about my failure?" It's still bad, but it would be slightly better. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at Vader in the first movie, it's like you're saying, you know, he's the equivalent of Jaws not Jaws the shark, Jaws in the Bond movies.
Right. Yeah.
You know, he's the thug, and yeah,
he's the muscle.
Well, and it's, you know what it is? It's, and this like goes down a whole separate corridor, but it's like Lucas took it from a place where Vader went from being Vader was the most important villain in Luke's life, but he in between movies he became the most important villain in the universe.
Right.
So in other words, to me, and again, it's like, well, Empire Strikes Back is great, so I'm not going to get into that. But there's also a very different movie that could have been just as good, where you have the whole galactic civil war playing out, and then on a much smaller scale, you have this personal conflict between Luke and the man who killed his father. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, sorry. Total tangent. It drives me bananas how Lucas like created this whole myth around himself, and it's like, oh yeah, we had it all planned out from the beginning. It's like, dude, why don't you just say like, well, this is what we were originally going to do, and then we took it in a different direction. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stupid Lucas. Anyway. Any other Star Wars news?
Oh, well, I had something else I was going to mention. I just found it interesting. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but there was a couple of months back, there was something that was going to come out called Star Wars Detours, which was created by Seth Green. And it was almost like a robot chicken series that was just entirely Star Wars themed. And it looked, if I remember right, it's like CG animated. It almost seemed like vignettes. I mean, I remember there was like a thing where Han Solo's dancing, like disco dancing, and it did not seem to come across favorably with fans.
Right.
But then as soon as it was announced that they were going to start making more Star Wars films, that immediately got scrapped. And just this week, I guess Seth Green was asked about it, and he said, this is what I found interesting. They had 39 finished episodes already, and they had 62 finished scripts, which is, I was like, wow. That was, I mean, this wasn't like, let's see where this goes. I mean, they were full throttle on this thing. But then when they said they were going to start making more films, they decided to put it aside. And to paraphrase him, he was just saying, you know, now that they're going to reintroduce this world to a bunch of kids, the powers that be, didn't feel it would be such a good idea to also have this humorous lens being something that they see parallel to these movies. It would just sort of screw up their take on it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think so. I agree with that too. But it's just sort of interesting. I mean, 39 finished episodes just going to sit in a vault somewhere. Whether or not anyone's demanding to see them, I have no idea. But I just found that interesting.
So that's time and money that they've spent.
Yeah.
And unlike Clone Wars, which is also canceled, I mean, but that's going to continue on and, you know, be put on Blu-ray and whatnot.
But it makes sense. I mean, you don't want to have like the Naked Gun version of Star Wars going at children watching that as they're trying to get into the universe for the first time.
Like, oh, Darth Vader's so funny.
Exactly.
Oh my God, he cut off his hand.
Yeah.
Why did he do that? Why would you let me watch this?
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of Star Wars on TV, they also have this Star Wars Rebels show coming out. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, which takes place in between original trilogy timeline, right?
So it's between 3 and 4, I think.
Yeah.
It's like the growth of the rebellion, I believe.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that could be interesting.
That sounds kind of cool.
Because then, we're going to get to see, you and I are going to get to see the ships that we like.
Yeah.
You know,
we sound like such dorks.
The timeline that we're
I want to see an X-Wing fighter. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And a TIE fighter. And a B-Wing and an A-Wing. I think the show should be about Jack Porkins.
Yeah.
He should be. I think we need to redeem Porkins.
Yeah. Him joining the academy and
he's got all these big dreams, you know.
Yeah.
Today's going to be the best day of my life. It's like that. Remember that Robot Chicken skit with it's about Walrus Man before he goes to the cantina.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's, you know, Robot Chicken does, which is Seth Green, same guy who does the Star Wars Detours thing, or did. You know, they do these Star Wars humorous episodes. And so they had a short where it's Walrus Man, who's also called Ponda Baba, by the way, which I didn't know that he actually has a name. But he's the guy who, in the cantina scene in the first movie, Obi-Wan like cuts his arm off with the lightsaber. So this is like a skit that shows the lead up to that. And honest to God, after seeing that, you feel bad for him in the cantina. You're like, oh man, why'd Obi-Wan cut his arm off? Poor guy. Like, he can't be an architect anymore, you know? Anyway, moving on. Let's talk up some trailers very quickly. We got two. Well, this is one that trailer's been out for a while, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it. And this is Keanu Reeves in 47 Ronin. So let's go ahead and play that.
It's a romantic comedy about the other one. About a down on his luck guy who walks dogs, and he meets a girl he never expected to meet.
Yeah, played by Janine Garofalo, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, let's play that.
Those who enslaved you have taken over our land.
Mountains of corpses will not stand in our way.
We believe you are the only one who can help us.
Their army is infinite.
We are 47.
If we do this, there's no coming back. The enemy will be watching. I know what you are.
You have no idea.
Okay, so this is directed by...
That was not what I was expecting.
Clearly. Where was Janine Garofalo? I don't even know what to make of this, honestly. I don't even know if it looks bad, but I don't know. It doesn't look like something I'm interested in.
It could be good, but it doesn't look... I hate to think this way, but it doesn't look like something that people are into right now.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? This looks like a movie that could have come out post-Matrix, you know, and sort of capitalize on that wave a little bit.
Right.
I don't know. And it's funny because there was a moment where I was watching this and like, okay, it's a martial arts film, and they're upside down. You know, like,
well,
okay,
there's like demons and stuff, and
yeah, it's. I thought, again, with the title 47 Ronin, too, I'm like, is this based on something?
Well, it is.
It just feels
apparently, I looked this up, and yeah, there's it's a historical event called the Revenge of the 47 Ronin.
Right.
And it's been sort of lionized and turned into a famous thing. So they've turned it into this sci-fi fantasy, whatever the hell thing. But it's something on which, by the way, they spent $175 million. So I'm going to go ahead and say this here, and I don't care who I offend. This will not make $175 million.
No.
No. I don't think it'll make that internationally or domestically, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. And I like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, me too. And I feel bad whenever I see sad Keanu.
Yeah.
Just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, I want to see, and he keeps talking about Bill and Ted 3.
That's what I want to see.
I do want to see that. Yeah. I know if it never exists, maybe it's for the best. I don't know.
Right.
But at the same time, if it's going to get made, you already have a ticket sold here. So I think it's an interesting idea because I read that the concept was, because remember in the first film, they were supposed to write the song that brings the universe together in peace.
Right.
Universal harmony.
Right.
And then so they had to complete this history exam so they didn't get split up so they could write this song. In the third film, apparently the plot is they're middle-aged men and they still haven't written the song yet.
But wait a minute,
like
doesn't the second one end with them, like doesn't it show them becoming successful?
I'll be honest, I think it has to do with Battle of the Bands. I don't remember that one as well.
Yeah, I saw it exactly one time. I saw the second one exactly one time. Which was,
but I thought that was a really funny idea that ties into the first one, and it kind of makes sense with their age and everything. It's like, okay, you were supposed to be this thing that saves the world, and now you've grown up and you still haven't done it. Like, are you getting around to it or what?
I thought that was a great idea. Funny. Yeah, that's the movie I want to see. This Ronin business. Other trailers, we have Grudge Match, and this is the long-awaited boxing match between Rocky Balboa and Jake LaMotta. Let's play some of that.
30 years after their second fight, Kid McDonough and Razor Sharp get ready to go at it again. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up.
Gutsy move going without a bra.
I took a dump on your porch.
Okay, we are live, guys. We are live right now.
Hey, Webster, show a little respect.
I choose to believe that you just called me Webster because of my dictionary-sized vocabulary, not because of my height and race.
No, it's because you're short and black.
What was Jesus like? I'm curious. Was he cool?
Okay, so
now I think Robert De Niro should have been black and white in this movie because you're talking about Jake LaMotta, and Raging Bull. So
it would be like Pleasantville.
Sort of interesting.
It'd be like Pleasantville. Yeah. And every time he gets punched, the blood would be red.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, this is obviously, it's playing on nostalgia. It's playing on our, sense of who these actors are and their characters. I didn't find the trailer that funny, though.
No, when I first heard about the concept of this film, I was like, you're going to break these actors. Like, they're old. Robert De Niro isn't kind of old. He's old.
He's old.
He should not be getting punched in the face. So I couldn't even imagine with this movie. I actually thought it was going to be a drama.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching the trailer, you sort of realize, it actually plays up the fact that they're old.
Right.
And it begins with them doing motion capture for a video game for their characters and then deciding to have a rematch. So I get it now.
Right.
I get it. But it's still, I just cannot imagine. And they didn't show a lot of boxing footage, but I cannot imagine De Niro in the ring,
right,
moving fast enough. And I don't even mean to be critical or I can't picture it.
Well, Robert De Niro is he's 70. He is 70 now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Which you shouldn't be doing that stuff at that age.
Yeah, it's hard. And like you said, it looks like it wants to be a comedy, and it
was directed by Peter.
I'm sure it's
Segal directed it. So
yeah,
he did Tommy Boy. So this is obviously meant to be.
And I'm sure it's a movie that'll bring a smile to your face in some ways, but it doesn't look like it's going to be bust a gut or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you're a big. I like Rocky, but you love Rocky. So I mean,
I love
how do you feel
Rocky?
About this?
Set the whole thread of my life. I was talking about Marco Benassi earlier. Actually, it was Rocky Balboa who set the tone of my entire life. Because I too grew up in the hard scrabble streets of Philadelphia. I too used to work as a leg breaker for the mob.
Right.
And I too used to be
Early
married
teens.
to Talia Shire. So
that's right.
Lot that I relate to in my life.
And you named your kids Cuff and Link.
That's I love the Rocky movies. I love Rocky Balboa, the last one. I think it's like it's like a perfect ending. And we talked about how they're doing that spin-off series, which I'm intrigued by. I'm more like big picture. I'm kind of like, why does Stallone keep trying to do comedy?
Yeah,
because that has never ended well for him. Because he did Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Classic.
And really, that's all I need to say. He did Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Right. He also did Oscar and
classic.
Well, I don't think that word means what you think it means, Brian. But there is that curiosity factor, I suppose. But I don't know. It didn't make me laugh. That was my big issue with the trailer. I was just there was no point where I was like, oh, that's really funny.
Yeah,
it's just novelty.
So,
it's like old men fighting.
Right. Yeah, it's Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men 3.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how old? I'd be curious to see how old they were when they made that movie.
Well, I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, because that was about old men being old men,
right?
And living old men lives and having old men problems. But in this movie, it's old men doing things that I can't. Well, again, you watch the movie. Who knows? Maybe that world will make it believable. But I just can't.
Well.
Believe.
I mean. Here's think about it. Jack Lemmon died in 2001, and he was 76, which means he was in his mid 60s when he made Grumpy Old Men.
Right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So I don't know. That's it. I'm not. Not a criticism. I'm just a thought.
So I'm actually very curious about this because Sylvester Stallone is 67 right now, which means he's older than Jack Lemmon was, or he is the same age.
Old Men?
Yeah. Think about that. Meanwhile, Stallone is doing Expendables 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still got the physique for it. And he looks imposing, and
well, his physique. Honestly, I don't need to ever see Stallone without a shirt on again.
Yeah.
Because
his skin looks like when a kid takes a shirt and then stuffs things inside the shirt to make muscles. Right?
Well, yeah, it looks like a sack of potatoes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because bullet to the head, they find excuses for him to take his shirt off. I'm like, dude, just put it on. Wear a suit. I mean, he looks good for his age, no doubt about it. And Stallone, let's be clear, is probably in better shape than I am now or have ever been. Yeah. Fact. He could break me. He could break me in two. Take those pieces, put them on top of each other, break that in two. I know it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He could rip a phone book in half. No, what's the thing you're not supposed to be able to rip in half?
Yeah, phone book.
You're not supposed to be able to rip a piece of paper 8 times.
Oh, he could
do it 9.
That's right. But yeah, he is old, so that is a concern,
Yeah.
All right, so very quickly, I think that's all the trailers we have for this week, right? That is all the trailers. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk up some new releases because we've got some new stuff. One movie's out already. One movie will be out shortly, and then we can talk a little bit about Don Jon, which I know you were curious about.
Yeah.
So this is a film that is very well directed.
This is Don Jon.
This is Don Jon. Yes, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's filmmaking debut as a writer and a director. And as he mentioned in the thing, he came up with the idea himself, and he was able to pull all the resources together. And it's a testament to how connected he has become in the industry because it's got a fantastic cast. Right? He's got Scarlett Johansson plays his love interest. You've got what's her name, Julianne Moore is also. Do we want to talk spoilers? I don't know.
Let's avoid them.
Because you've seen nothing. So
I have not seen these films, unfortunately. Some of them haven't been released, or they're coming out this weekend. I just haven't had an opportunity. So I was telling Zaki, I of course want to talk about these movies, but for those of you who also haven't seen them, like I'm ready for him to pitch them to me.
Oh, okay.
And sort of set them up and kind of give me his take on them. But definitely, yeah, I'd prefer to avoid spoilers.
Well, okay. So Don Jon is. First of all, it's nice if you're Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where you're like, I've written and directed a movie where I play a sex addict, and Scarlett Johansson is my love interest. Must be nice.
Yeah,
and it's a movie that I appreciated for the craft more than I appreciated as an experience, because
as a story or as a
the story was not for me.
Uh-huh. And I guess we should say, I mean, the story is he is a guy who is addicted to porn.
Yeah.
And he meets a girl who is, I guess, addicted to romantic comedy. So they both have skewed ideas of what love is, right?
Right. But see, what you're saying, and that's been kind of the tagline and the promo thing, that puts more of an onus on the romantic aspect of the film than the film itself does, because it feels... Like that's a part of it, no doubt, but it's more tangential, the romantic thing, because that's definitely in there, and it's very cute because Joseph Gordon-Levitt is very good friends with Channing Tatum, so he got Channing Tatum and Anne Hathaway to play the couple in this romantic comedy that they watch, which is like every generic rom-com like ever, But it's really about him. I mean, the original title was Don Jon's Addiction. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. That's what the film is about. It's about him. He would rather pleasure himself than be with a woman, even though he's with somebody like every week.
Right.
And part of it is maybe I'm just not the target demo for this. For the characters and the way some of it was pretty hard to watch, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. In terms of showing the extent of his addiction and whatnot. I mean, it's meant to be kind of a farce, and there's parts of it that are very good. I think Tony Danza plays his father in the film, and he's very good. He's very funny. And Brie Larson is in it. We interviewed her a few weeks ago. She plays his sister, and yeah, I mean, it's light, it's pretty disposable. To me, the value of the film is that it points the way toward a very successful career as a filmmaker for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Mm-hmm. I think that's the value of the film. I think it shows that he knows his stuff, he knows what he's doing, and he'll be a very good director. This really wasn't for me, but I think it'll find an audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it feel sort of like an indie film? You know what I mean? Where it's a little unconventional, or is it something that... Because I've noticed, some of the advertising online, and they make it look like a romantic comedy.
It is not a traditional rom-com.
Right.
And it's definitely doing the indie thing, which you can appreciate. I felt like it was doing the indie stuff a little obviously. Like, oh, look, we're an indie movie,
Right.
So there's a repetition. I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but I mean, his whole thing is he loves porn, he loves hanging out with his buddies at clubs, he loves cleaning his apartment, he loves working out.
Right.
And he loves...
Yeah, I think that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Sort of that.
And he loves like going to church and confessing. So we have this pattern of he does this, 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 and then repeat. He does this, he does it, and that's it's very deliberate. After like the fifth time, you're kind of like, okay, I get it.
Right.
And I feel like it's the film is stuck in its own pattern, because I don't know any other way to get to where he wants us to get. Mm-hmm. And the ending of the film has him obviously reach a point in his journey, and I appreciate it, but it didn't land with me to the extent that it might with a different audience. But it's weird because I was thinking about this. I was like, girls who see it will have a hard time getting past the porn stuff. Mm-hmm. Guys who see it will just have a hard time. Well, guys who see it will have a hard time watching it with their guy friends and with their girlfriends. So who's the audience?
Right.
It's JGL fans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So,
I'm curious. I'm definitely curious.
Yeah, well, let me know what you think when you see it next time.
Yeah.
Another new release that's out right now is Prisoners.
Yeah, which I have to say, I had heard about this movie that in the news that it was being made and everything, and saw it was coming out. Didn't know much about it, and I finally saw a trailer for it this week, actually.
Okay.
And it looks really intense.
It is intense. It's definitely it's funny because not funny, but the premise of the movie is Hugh Jackman plays a father whose daughter is kidnapped, and so it's about the investigation and trying to find out what happened to her, and she's like 5 or 6, and also his efforts to get to the bottom of it. And I watch movies separately from my wife because obviously we have to, because somebody has to watch the children. And usually when I go, I'm kind of like, well, if it's good, I'll let her know, and she can check it out. So when the movie starts, I was like, oh, it's really good. I was like, oh, I should tell her about it. And then like a third of the way through or 2/3 of the way through, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to tell her to go see this.
Yeah.
Because
pretty disturbing if you're a parent.
Well, and she's pregnant right now, so she's dealing with a surplus of emotion. I don't think she needs to see Maria Bello like, "Where's my baby? And you said you'd keep her safe." It's a lot of that.
Well, I mean, this is maybe sort of a crude comparison, but the movie Ransom with Mel Gibson, which was more of a commercial sort of thriller.
Give me back my son.
Yeah.
I remember after seeing that movie, I would just say that to random people on the street. Then they arrested me. Yeah, it's like Taken minus the
Ransom.
Well, Taken and Ransom are like this film.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh, so Prisoners is you were comparing it to Taken.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
okay.
And I would also compare it to Ransom, where it's what would a father do, right? But unlike Taken, where Liam Neeson kills everyone in Paris on the way to find his daughter, this is much more grounded, right? And I would say that, and it's directed by a guy named Denis Villeneuve, I believe. Villeneuve. It's his first Hollywood film. He's been an indie filmmaker for a while. It's trying to be something in the David Fincher vein.
Okay.
In that it's very quirky and it's very morose,
Right. I
don't know that it necessarily succeeds on that, but it's definitely worth seeing. It's I've seen reviews run the gamut, and I land kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely engaging, and it'll keep you guessing. It'll keep you interested. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that they threw in as little character stuff that they just threw in just to be quirky.
Right.
So, like, if you see Jake Gyllenhaal plays the police detective who's on the case, and he has this thing where he blinks his eyes in this weird fashion, and it's obviously a character choice. So he's
right.
And Brian, I'm going to demonstrate this to you. Our listeners can't see it, but he'll be like, "Tell me where they are," like that.
Okay. So after he says something, then he blinks his eyes.
Like, yeah, and it's like rapid fire blinking, and you notice it early on, and it's like, that's kind of a weird, like, and I was kind of like waiting for some payoff for that, because it's just
that was the word that was about to come out of my mouth. Is there any payoff to that?
Not really.
And you learn something?
No.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing he does, and this is like an affectation, is he wears button-down shirts buttoned up to the top, but no tie. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm like, well, was I meant to notice that? Like, these are choices that add to the character, but I don't know what they say about the character.
Yeah. I mean, it's with another film, a friend of mine was saying she didn't enjoy the film because the character had similar things to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And she was like, and all I could see was the actor in between takes going to the director, be like, I got this idea.
Yeah.
And the director not able to say no.
Yeah, well, it's like Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider. What if I eat jelly beans out of a wine glass? The director's like,
exactly,
fine,
sure.
But you know what? Jake Gyllenhaal is actually very good in this film.
Sure, and I think he's a great actor. Yeah.
He tends to be good,
and maybe that sometimes those things do elevate. Because then whether or not like you were saying with Robert Redford, like whether or not you ever learn why he does those things, he's wound tight.
Yeah,
or there's something.
Yeah.
Bubbling behind the surface.
Something. Hugh Jackman is It's like you took Jean Valjean and Wolverine and just put them in a blender. Because that's basically who he's playing in this movie.
Really?
But then I was thinking, I was like, man, he's kind of in Wolverine mode. And I was like, but again, if you're a dad who's had a child kidnapped, that you would be in Wolverine mode, you know?
Yeah.
But I like Hugh Jackman. I actually think Jake Gyllenhaal does a better job in the movie, though. I felt like Hugh Jackman was kind of a little bit one note in the film. And then it has Melissa Leo, who I just dislike, as we all know, for no rational reason. I just don't like her. And you know, it's a movie that I appreciated. I'd give it like a B.
Okay.
It's not something that really stays with you. I appreciated the ending. I'm not going to get into that here, but it had a unique way of ending, I would say, that makes it stand a cut above.
Okay. I'm curious. I got to say, it looks like a movie you need to be in a mood for.
Yeah, you should go. You should go because otherwise the show goes like this. It's me talking at you.
Right.
You really should go, Brian. For another movie that is not out yet, but it comes out next week, and so it'll be sort of between episodes, is Rush, which is the biography of Limbaugh, starring Chris Hemsworth as Rush Limbaugh.
That's what I was. Yeah, what you said.
No, it's. I would want to see that movie too, by the way. But it's about a true life story about a British Formula One racer called James Hunt and his rivalry that he had with a fellow racer called Niki Lauda. And the movie stars Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, I believe, is the actor who plays his rival. And it's directed by Ron Howard. And I went into this movie with zero expectations, and I came out convinced that I had seen one of the best movies of the year.
I was really surprised to hear you say that because I saw the trailer and the TV spots, and they were doing absolutely nothing for me. And not even that they looked bad. It just looked like something I had no interest in ever seeing.
Okay.
There was just, I don't know what it is. It just felt like there was no hook that was pulling me into the story.
Well, if you notice,
and I'd heard other people say the same thing, so I was very surprised to hear how much you enjoyed it.
Well, if you look at the advertising, I mean the posters are just a big shot of Chris Hemsworth's head.
Yeah.
That's what. In other words, that's what this movie is being sold on.
Well, and that's what I feel like I remember about the trailer too. I remember like a race car and then two extreme close-ups of Chris Hemsworth and Olivia Wilde, and I'm like,
that's right. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's an unconventional film, no doubt about it. In that I wouldn't be interested in it, but it's. I mean, it really did it for me. I think you know what it is. This is like the good version of, or let me rephrase, the better version of Cinderella Man.
Okay.
Which was also Ron Howard, if you remember. And my issue that I had with that movie, which is a true story, and that was meant to be kind of a classic crowd pleaser, kind of this movie, but it took the real life story and it Hollywooded it up.
Right.
In that, because Russell Crowe plays our protagonist, and his antagonist in the film is this boxer who's depicted as being the son of Satan.
Right.
But in real life, he was a decent guy.
Yeah.
And I felt, and I remember thinking, I was like, if you had been true to the historical version, that movie would have been just as good.
Yeah.
And what this film does is it tells the story from the perspective of both of these guys. Both of them. So you like them both.
Right.
And so you're seeing a rivalry turn into mutual respect, and then who knows where it goes from there. Because these are two racers who are both damn good. They're just very different.
Right. See, I didn't even know there was a rivalry going on.
Yeah, because if you look at the ads, again, it's just, hey, look. And by the way, okay, I want to say this. It is distracting and borderline unfair how handsome Chris Hemsworth is. because there were times in the movie where I'm just like, man, Chris Hemsworth is a really good-looking guy. and I'd be like, what am I doing? You know? But I actually don't even think that makes you gay. I think it just makes you, you.
That's just fact.
It is, and I don't want to steal from Sean because he had mentioned this earlier, but this is me representing him. He mentioned that if there were two people he could choose to repopulate the Earth in the event of deep impact, it would be Chris Hemsworth and Elsa Pataki, who's this model who happens to be married to Chris Hemsworth, so that's convenient.
Wait, who's that? I actually don't know who that is.
She is the Elsa Pataki. She is married to Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
And she is quite a dish, as the young people say.
Quite a dish.
Yeah. But he's really good in this. He's actually basically playing Thor in this movie. Because it's the same arc. Like, he starts out as this very arrogant guy, and then he learns humility. But it's a true story, and it's this is, in my opinion, the best movie Ron Howard has made in a long time. Maybe since Ransom.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
because that was like 96, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that, 95.
Because Ron Howard's been on autopilot a little bit, and he's always. I mean, he's not a bad director, of course, but it's hard to think of a Ron Howard movie that really stays with you. I think
that's a funny. That's accurate.
It is.
He's a good filmmaker, but his movies don't stick with you.
Well, I mean, I'd have to go back to like Ransom, Apollo 13,
Backdraft.
Yeah, I mean, we're now into the early 90s.
Yeah.
Tell me a Ron Howard movie from the mid 90s to now.
Well, I mean, he was doing all those Da Vinci Code movies.
Okay. I haven't seen the second one.
The
first one sucked. That was terrible.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm a fan of them, but it's just kind of. I mean, those feel very different than Backdraft and Apollo 13. And then again, it's interesting because those movies do feel, even though I still think they're good, those do feel like 90s movies. If you know what I mean. We should do Backdraft in like movies that matter. I feel like that could be a fun one to talk about. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. That'd be fun to revisit. That would be fun. But I think he really did some interesting stuff stylistically that was new. The race scenes are very well done. You really feel the intensity of it. It feels 3D. Like this is the interest. It's like you have two movies that demonstrate a filmic technology where gravity is like the best case for 3D, and then you have a movie like this, which is like you don't need 3D to be engaged and feel the adrenaline. That's very interesting. Yeah. So I recommend that like without reservation. I liked Rush more than I liked Prisoners. Yeah, that's a huge surprise, and I'm happy to hear that because like I say, I'm always happy to have something to look forward to. So and I have a feeling that it's going to surprise people. I think it's going to do very well because I think the reviews will be good. Word of mouth. And they're selling it on Chris Hemsworth, and I think I actually think that's a smart strategy because I think that he will put butts in seats. I think the guy's got talent, man. He's got the charisma for a movie like this. Yeah. But I think that wraps up our new releases for this week. Yeah. I think we covered a lot of ground. Generally, we try not to do the Zaki talks about movies he's seen while Brian listens in quiet contemplation. But Brian, you had jury duty this week, so that took you off the grid. The new job, I had jury duty. It was a busy week. So, what was your case? A murder trial? Actually, it was a homicide. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then I apologize for making it. I just feel bad now. Real world just crept in. I know. We just went to a dark place. I remember, the last time I went to jury duty was back when I was still living in Chicago, and it was the DuPage County Courthouse. Remember that? And I went in, and I was all mad because I had to call in work, and I'm sitting there and wasting my time, and this is pre-iPhone, by the way. Right. This is I was on my phone a lot. I know. This is like I had to take a book, like an actual bobook, and I'm sitting there, and then our pool gets called in, and I'm like, please don't pick me, and you get called in. The way it works is or the way it worked then, you get called in, and each of the attorneys gets to ask you, like people in the jury, random questions, right? And then they get to determine. They can just be like, we want to dismiss X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm talking about. And so they asked me some random stuff, and I'm like, please don't pick me, and then they asked me some questions,
And then they're like, okay, we want to dismiss so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And I was one of the people that got dismissed. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what? It's because of my color? Like,
yeah.
All of a sudden, what, you got something against brown people?
Yeah.
And I
there was a moment where I was sitting there and the judge was talking, and I noticed both attorneys, the prosecution and the defense, looking at me.
Oh, really?
And like one of them, like, we caught eyes, and then she smiled, and I was like, "Oh no!" Like, for some reason, I look like the perfect juror for this.
But you did not get called in.
No.
You were too handsome for the jury.
I suppose. Actually, yeah. I can't believe we're getting into this, but I got dismissed because I wasn't able to do it for whatever.
Yeah,
vacation reasons.
Vacation reasons. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. That was Law and Order Corner on the Movie Film Podcast.
Yeah.
So coming up in a few weeks, we'll be talking about Gravity. We'll be talking about all the movies that you've missed, Brian.
Uh-huh.
And plus, hopefully, fingers crossed. At this point, we're putting a candle in the window that Sean will be able to join us for our next episode.
Yep, and we should say, I mean, he's very busy. This is not him just like, I'm just not up to it this week.
No,
he's a busy fellow right now.
He wants to be here, and again, I want to emphasize again, he made every effort to try to accommodate us. He was like, hey, can you guys do 5 a.m. on Sunday? And I was the one who said, I'm not doing 5 a.m. on Sunday. So I put the kibosh on that, but he did offer. So we are missing Sean. But that pretty much brings us to the end of our time. Brian, where can people find you online?
At everythingbrian.blogspot.com, Brian with an I.
And you can find us at moviefilmpodcast.com and also at facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. You can reach me at Zaki at zakiscorner.com. I also post my writing at zakiscorner.com. That's zakiscorner.com, as well as at the Huffington Post, where the podcast goes up and my reviews go up. And the transcript of the Joseph Gordon-Levitt interview will also be posted, probably very shortly after you listen to this. Also, send us your questions, comments, concerns at our Facebook page and also at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. Also, write us a review. Give us a star rating on iTunes or on StitcherRadio.com. Every little bit helps. Every review helps. Every star helps. It makes us feel special and important, which we desperately need because we are sad people.
That's very sad.
That wraps us up for this episode. My name is Zaki Hassan, and on behalf of my good buddy Brian Hall, who I have not seen in almost a year, but I will hopefully be seeing by the next time we record. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. We'll catch you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the